I'm just gonna ask you if you could just share a little bit about your background and how you came to work at CREC with us.
Oh, so my background, originally I'm from Guyana. I was born there, came over here around when I was like about 5. Grew up in New York City,
Okay,
went through New York City school system.
okay.
So throughout high school, then when I graduated, I had the option to either go to college or go to prep school. So I went to prep school for about a year.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I have somebody knocking at my door.
Okay.
All right, no problem. Sorry, one of my
No worries.
middle schoolers.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
where
you
was I?
said New York City, you grew up in what borough, if you don't mind me asking?
In Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yep,
Okay.
definitely. It was different. So I went to prep school for a year in Maine. So that was a change of scenery.
Okay.
Then from there, I received a scholarship to play football at AIC in Springfield, Mass. And, played there for about 4 or 5 years, did my master's, then received a degree in school counseling. So after receiving that, I moved to Connecticut shortly after graduating, where I started my first job actually was a school counselor in Norwalk High.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
So from
right.
Norwalk High, I was there for about 2 years. And then after that, I went to East Hartford High as a school counselor. So I've been
Mhm.
a school counselor and coach for a number of years.
Okay, and you wanted to transition into being a principal? Is that something, or you
So
wanted to do
how that
teaching?
happened,
Mhm.
so COVID happened, right?
COVID, yeah.
So COVID happened and it was like a weird time for everyone.
Mhm.
And I had gotten my certification to be an administrator like years ago, back in like 2011 or
Oh,
something like that. So, but I enjoyed coaching so much, like it was kind of hard to step away. But during that COVID time, it kind of like opened your eyes to like different perspectives about life. And so I really was embedded in being a school counselor and really had given as much as I could to that field.
okay.
So I wanted to grow professionally. So that was COVID. When COVID came, it was that opportunity to kind of step out and kind of trying to obtain a leadership role to, you know, continue to service students in a different way.
Awesome. Okay. So tell me, what was one of your proudest or moments being a coach or being, trans counselor? What could you reflect upon?
Um, Well, for as being a counselor, it's always seeing the growth of the students, right? So you watch them come in as freshmen, because I was primarily a high school counselor. You
Mhm.
watch them come in as freshmen and you watch them develop and grow into these young women and men who can
Mhm.
go out and, produce for society. So that was always like the trip for me as a counselor, because then, you actually are in these students' lives for so many years. And
Mhm.
then seeing them and bumping into them after high school, it's a trip, because it's like they run up to you, they talk to you. Some of them are thankful for words of encouragement.
Mhm.
Some of them are grateful for getting them back on track, and then some of them, the ones that were had difficulties, they still come up to you and say like you are right, or like thank you for always like still holding them down and being there and supporting them. So that's kind of like for me, just watching the kids cross the stage and watch them take that transition into young adulthood. Um, as a coach, there are a lot of them. As a track coach, I would say when we qualified for nationals, had to take some student athletes down to North Carolina A&T to participate in that. So that was one of my proudest moments, to watch those kids develop, and you know, because they put in the hard work, and you want to see them grow and get to those types of platforms to, you know, exhibit their talents and abilities. So that was one. And the other was, you know, I was a football coach as well.
Mhm.
So we ended East Hartford's drought of 30 years of not making the playoffs.
Okay.
So that was like another achievement that I was proud of, because those kids were truly dedicated. So it was kind of like a turning point for not only the school but for the program as well.
Love it. Love hearing
Yep.
positive feedback when it comes to working with our children. It's not
Yep.
easy. It is definitely not easy, but sticking
No,
with
but
it
you know,
it's
there's
some
always
challenge.
a silver lining there.
Yeah. So tell me, what, as a principal, assistant, associate, is it associate principal or assistant principal?
Assistant principal. Yep.
Assistant principal. What are some of your challenges you face being in this position?
Um, Trying to solve everything at once. You know, you have to really take things day by day, because
Mhm.
there's a new challenge every day.
Okay.
There's something always new and different to try to, you know, not only fix but figure out. And
Mhm.
you know, there's always having that mindset of growth, that you're not perfect. Um,
Okay.
and like, mistakes will be made, but you have to learn from them and continue to grow. Um,
Hmm.
the other challenge I would say is to always to continue to be an active listener.
Yeah.
Um, and like, I've never been like a know-it-all, and never will claim to be.
Hmm.
Um, so just having an attentive ear and listening to and leaning on others to for growth and guidance with that stuff as well. So but you know, we are in a very different climate when it comes to education.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the challenging piece for me personally is the you know, the bullying and that word bullying and
Mm.
harassment. When that pops up, you know, it makes your ears perk up.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of one of the biggest things for me, because you know, you have to go through the channels and navigate that with a very tentative eye and ear.
Oh, yeah, that is very true. What do you enjoy doing when you're not working, when you're outside of CREC? What are some of your hobbies that you like, or something that you just like to stay grounded in?
My family.
Mhm.
I have two daughters.
Oh,
So
okay. We
one's about to be
share same. I
17.
have two as well.
Yeah, one's a big age difference. One's about to be 17. One is just turned 2.
Okay.
Um, so my high schooler, she's involved in a lot of sporting events. So
Mhm.
my hobby, and you know, by default, is, you know, always supporting her during those
Mhm.
times of when she's participating in those types of events. And
Yep.
just also catching up with like friends and colleagues, whether professionally or personally, just doing that. And my favorite of all time is always just rest and relaxation. Um, you have to, sorry,
No, no, no worries.
you always have to be able to, you know, have that self-care component, which, you know, I'm guilty of as much as everybody else. You don't do enough of that.
No, we
Um,
don't.
so I think that's a key thing as well.
What, well, let me ask you this. What is a trait that you take in that you would love to see in leaders or believe a leader should have? What is it, something you carry and something you instill in the children that you work with, as well as your own children? How does that pan out?
The biggest thing for me is respect. I've always like lived my life by it. Like, once you build that foundation of respect, I think it makes it easier for all other things to kind of follow from that. Um, Also, having an open mind, right?
Hmm.
Having an open mind to other people's lifestyles, other people's upbringings, especially, you know, being a person of West Indian descent.
Okay.
You know, you have to be open to all all different upbringings and life stories and journeys, really. So no two people are the same. And I think once you have a clear understanding of that, then you're more receptive to being an active listener, to being a leader, to being accountable, to being adaptable, to in leadership. So I think those are key things that stand out for me.
Oh, awesome. Loving what I'm hearing so far. To end it, just a few questions to honor Black History Month. What are some of your voice and aspirations, which I already we can tell that you try to keep instilling in your community?
Yeah, just the respect factor. Give respect, get respect. That's always like going to be number one for me. In addition to that, I think trying to give the youth and young men and women that sense of reality, because there's a huge thing with social media right now. And I think it just provides like a false perception of what like life may truly be for them. So just trying to have students and young men and women stay grounded in reality. And I always talk about, growing up as a kid, we had like different shows to show us how to develop coping skills and handle different issues and problems, where now it's a lot of like reality TV. And I'm not knocking anybody's hustle for reality TV, but
it's too much.
It's, right. I mean, it may be a detriment to our kids in the long run. Just giving them that sense of reality and showing them that perspective of things can be different. Here's how you should approach a situation when you have conflict, whether in school or out of school. And it's a key thing, because it might be a difference that might, save their lives one day. It might change their trajectory of life.
That's it. And that ties into my last question, which is some of your key components to continue to thrive in your career, in which you tell children that now that you're a principal and you're an administrative level, you pretty much answered it. But if you want to give some other tidbits on what you drive and what they need to continue to
keep
thrive.
Being an active learner. There's always room for growth, and always keeping that growth mindset to develop and grow, not only mentally but spiritually, and just having that growth mindset to understand that times are always going to change, people are always going to change, and things can change at a moment's notice. So just continue to grow and be adaptable and be understanding and always an active learner.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice meeting you, and I'm
you as well.
excited. I'm excited to premiere you this week. Your interview. It was awesome. You are an awesome hidden gem for CREC.